Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another playthrough, or chapter I guess you would call it, in Forsaker, DingDing Blade. This will be part 3, or my part 3, which I believe is still in the first point of view, if you would. If we come here, guys, we take a look. Yeah, we're still in this is still chapter 2. Or no, we're in chapter 1. We're in chapter 1, story 4. So if we remember back in the last part of mine, part 2, we were in Ian's role, and we watched people get auctioned off, people from the cart, if you would, the prisoner wagon. And they were auctioned off to the villagers in this town of Easter Town, I think it's called. And the only one that made an impact was the last one, who was a female. And we don't yet know if it's lust or, something more that captivated Ian to the point that he felt sadness watching the overlord of the town buy her for evidently his own sexual pleasure. So we will find out what happens. His friend basically kind of told him to move on, and we got stuff to do, and let it go at the very end of that. And we're going to move on into this story. I believe this is story 4 of Ian's point of view. So let's go ahead and jump into this right now, guys. I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully you're enjoying this as much as I am. But let's go ahead and jump in to story 4 here of Ian, and it's my part 3. So let's go ahead. Upon leaving Eastertown and setting their sights on returning to Lupa village, the duo unexpectedly find themselves ensnarled in a relentless series of battles with monsters once again. Dae shouts in exasperation. "This is so not right. We've already turned in that severed hand, so why are there still hordes of monsters? Don't they have anything better to do, or is my flesh just too irresistible? We're not the only travelers on this road, are we? They could at least change targets and sample a different flavor for once." And Ian, or my perspective, "You've been lugging it around for ages. Surely you've caught a whiff of its scent by now, or something." "Ew, don't say such revolting things. But it seems like they're not coming for us, man." Moving away from Eastertown, Ian finally recovers a bit. Yet a heavy stone still weighs on his heart. He doesn't want his friend to see his tension, though. Plus, the present demands their full attention, leaving no room for distractions. "Whether they're coming for us or not, there are just too many creepy things around. It's giving me the chills. Let's hurry up and get out of here." "The hell I will. You brought too much. Or no, you bought too much, sorry. They're too heavy." The two of them are struggling under the weight of several large bags stuffed to the brim. Not only are they exhausted, but whenever they encounter monsters, they have to fight while also protecting the bags from damage, making the return journey even more challenging than their arrival was. Dae pants heavily, clearly out of breath. It feels like I'm carrying a mountain now. A golden mountain, though. I've got to buy enough to sell back home, or how else will I pay you back?" "So, why the complaints, dear creditor? You're not carrying my goods. You're carrying your future riches here." "Ah, you." He barely starts speaking when Dae suddenly lets out a surprised, "Eh?" "What's that?" "What is it?" Ian follows Daye's pointing finger and sees several towering trees with lush canopies. The afternoon sunlight filters through the dense leaves, creating a dappled dance of light and shadow on the ground. Yeah, that's some kind of a corpse or something. Let me see, is that flies? I don't know. Ian pauses briefly, jogging his memory. Were the trees this big along the road when we went to town? Hey, look! Earlier, light and shadow had obscured their view, but now, drawing near, they find countless monster corpses under the trees. Some with teeth in others' throats, but chests pierced by claws. So some of them have teeth in others' throats, but chests are pierced by claws, others having sneak attack with tails only to have their heads crushed. Were they killing each other out here? Daye doesn't say anything. Ian furrows his brow. The strange behavior of the monster stirs an inexplicable unease within him. Yet Daye, standing beside him, remains silent. The corpses of the monsters form a circle, and at the very center, nestled in the grass, there appears to be a small sphere of light. But upon closer inspection, it reveals itself to be a teeny mushroom, no bigger than a thumb. The mushroom surface grows faintly, not from the sun, but from mysterious hazy sparks of light. These lights drift slowly, releasing a fragrant aroma into the air. Were they fighting over that mushroom? Daye again doesn't respond. For some reason, Ian feels like the scent is remarkably similar to the aroma of the roasted meat, the kind that drifts from the homes of the wealthy, a delicious smell he and Daye can only dream of ever tasting. This stirs a ravenous hunger within Ian, and after the slave auction, a tight knot in his chest had made eating impossible. But now, his stomach feels extremely empty, as if his insides are alive with thousands of ants. The gentle aroma of the mushroom fills the air, weaving an illusion that whispers in his ear. It tells him that only by devouring the mushroom completely and selfishly can he satisfy his intense hunger, or else his own stomach might devour him instead. Well, that's pretty devious. Suddenly, a sharp pain stabs Ian's foot, making him jolt. He instinctively glances down to find that his grip had unknowingly slackened, causing the goods he was clutching to tumble onto his own foot. The pain somewhat distracts him from the gnawing hunger in his belly, and his mind clears slightly. Yeah, hopefully his mind clears enough to realize that this is a bunch of BS, or probably a trap. There's something wrong with the mushroom, though. Before he can catch his breath, the sensation of ants gnawing at his heart surges back, plunging his mind into complete chaos. No! Ian grits his teeth, swiftly draws the sword, and slashes his arm. As the blade slices through, blood flows, and the sharp pain eclipses his hunger. Seizing his fleeting moment of clarity, he acts now without hesitation. He reaches out to grab Daye next to him, eager to retreat swiftly, aware that their fleeting opportunity to escape might disappear at any moment, condemning them to the same doom as those monsters had. So that was pretty smart. So he realizes that these thoughts, that this gnawing hunger he's feeling at his stomach to eat is a trap, and that if he was to go eat and give into the temptation, him and Daye would probably both meet the same fate as all these monsters lying in ruin out in this forest. So he grabs his own sword and cuts his own arm to give him enough pain to come to his senses and realize what's going on and try to get the hell out of there and take his friend Daye with him. That's pretty cool. To his astonishment, his hand clutches only empty air. Ian whips his head around, only to discover that no one is now beside him. Just scattered goods strewn across the ground. Oh no, Dai went for it, huh? Oh no. No, this is not good. Could it be? No, Dai. Ian spins around, his eyes fixed ahead. Somehow, without him noticing, Dai has already reached the heap of the monster corpses ahead. His steps are unsteady but unwavering. He doesn't even try to avoid the bodies. Instead, he strides right over them, each step accompanied by a sickening crunch. Dai! He bellows Dai's name, but there's no response. This isn't good. Ian's heart drops. It appears the mushroom has ensnared Dai's mind. He must devise a plan to awaken him. Shouting proves futile, yet Ian hesitates to approach rashly. If his sanity slips once more, rushing in won't rescue Dai. Instead, both of them might become embroiled in a perilous battle, just like those creatures had. Without a moment to spare, Dai is already in the circle, a mere step from the mushroom. Ian braces himself and drives his sword into his own shoulder, carving a deep crimson gash. Blood mists into the air, and the excruciating pain obliterates all other sensations. I'm trying to figure out why he drives the sword into his own shoulder. That's only going to wake him up more, not his friend. I guess we're going to find out. You're going to owe me a big one for this, Dai. Ian bellows, charging forward with all his might, seemingly about to grab Dai. And just as Ian's hand is about to reach its target, it is abruptly halted, unable to extend any further. The monsters that have been lying dormant on the ground suddenly leap up, forming an imposing barrier between them. Oh boy. The other monsters, previously thought to be long dead, rise in a twisted, unnatural way, as if obeying an invisible order. They ignore Dai completely. Their sole focus is on Ian, seizing his arms and legs with a fierce grip, tangling his sword, and determined to thwart his advance. Oh shit. This is crazy, man. Dai arrives at the mushroom now. Light speckles scatter from its surface as it swells swiftly, reaching the height of a person. A slit gradually appears at its body, dark as ink, like a slender doorway opening into enigmatic abyss. The slit twists and swallows Dai whole. Oh my god! What the hell? Is that teeth in the slit of the mushroom? Oh my god! Ian, in a frenzy, slashes his sword through the writhing limbs of the monsters wrapping around him. But even more surge forth. Between the gaps, he catches a glimpse of his friend's face, half emerged from the slit, with an expression of endless intoxication. Oh my god. This is intense, guys. So here's Ian, ensnared by these monster limbs from dead monster corpses, entangling him and trying to keep him from moving towards his friend or saving his friend, Dai. Meanwhile, Dai is giving in to this sensation, this trap, if you would, of intense hunger, leading him right towards this mushroom that's now grown in size to be as bigger than he is. It opens up this slit. It looks like, from the picture, the slit has like teeth, like it's a huge mouth. And it's basically trying to lure him into his own death. This is insane, and here's Ian just trying to desperately save his friend, knowing exactly what he's feeling and what he's given into. Dai! Ian unleashes a piercing roar so sharp it feels like his very soul is bleeding. Silence answers him. Dai has been utterly devoured. Well, there goes Dai, just like that, huh? Could this all be like a dream? Maybe he's asleep and he's dreaming his best friend got devoured? The slit seals shut, and the mushroom convulses, pulsing in and out, trembling violently. A dark red liquid resembling blood slowly trickles down the mushroom's body and seeps into the earth. Suddenly, without any warning, the mushroom detonates. The incomplete monsters shatter into fragments under the intense force. Ian is hurled violently against a massive tree, feeling as if his internal organs have shifted. The pain is so excruciating that he can't even utter a single sound, and he abruptly starts coughing up a mouthful of blood. Yet this pain keeps him from passing out right away. After a few tries, he finally props himself up with great effort, but standing is still a distant goal. He can't even stand. He lifts his gaze, his vision still a hazy blur. All around, chaos reigns, a jumbled mess and turmoil. Thankfully, his soul rests silently, just within reach of his grasp. Ian pauses to catch his breath, inching forward on his hands and knees, and stretching out for his sword. Just as his fingers graze the hilt, a foot crashes down from above, smacking the back of his hand. Oh God. Startled, Ian looks up to find his friend just consumed by the mushroom, gazing at him with bloodshot eyes and a blank expression. Oh my God, could you imagine seeing your friend looking like that? Look at those eyes. It's all a dream, right? He's gonna wake up? Wow. That's the end of story 4. What a cliffhanger that chapter 4 left us on, right? Thankfully, guys, we're not done because we're not even 20 minutes into this video. And I want to play at least a half an hour or so on each video. So we're going to see what happens. Or maybe we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens at the start of story 5 anyway. I assume it's going to continue our story. That was pretty intense for whatever it was. Story 5. Hazily, a recognizable silhouette looms ahead. And... Dai? Yes, it is Dai. Dai! Yet he remains unresponsive, never turning to face Ian. Instead, he strides forward, heading straight towards the massive shadowy abyss that lies ominously before them. Dai! Ian's heart races with anxiety. He yearns to dash over and seize Dai, yet his legs remain frozen. Desperately, he pounds them. Move! He's pounding his own legs to just try to move. But his legs refuse to obey him. Not even a toe twitches. Helplessly, he watches as his friend vanishes into the abyss. Ian desperately ceases his struggle, bewildered as the scorching heat spreads through his groin. Something begins to swell and squirm between his legs. Come on, guys, grow up. I know what you guys are thinking. Heat spreading through his groin, something begins to swell and squirm between his legs. Grow up, guys, come on. He looks down to find the area blazing like a red-hot brand, eliciting a blood-curdling scream. As his cry reverberates, a dazzling golden bird erupts from his trousers. What the hell? It radiates a blinding light, flaps its wings with wild intensity, and soars upward in a frenzied arc, diving into the endless darkness until it vanishes completely. Whoosh! What the hell? Coming right from his ding-a-ling. What the hell, man? Yeah, I'd be confused too. This sounds like a dream. Yep. I was just saying it sounds like a dream. Ian's eyes snap open, and Dai is still alive. The sunlight above avoids the canopy, landing straight on his face. No wonder it's so bright. He squints, rubbing his forehead as he sits up. That dream. Ian remains silent for a moment, then slowly raises his hand. He tugs his trousers down slightly, peering inside. Thank God there's no bird, right? No way. His trembling fingers hover at his waistband. It takes all of his strength to suppress the scream clawing its way up from his nightmare. This can't be real. What the hell? He checks repeatedly, pauses cautiously, and finally concedes defeat. His shoulders slump, heavy with despair. Now I'm wondering... Okay, so he's up now, so this can't be another dream. What the hell's going on now? How much more of this madness? An oppressive cloud of inky exhaustion enveloped him, thick and stifling. Just days ago, on the return journey from Eastertown, Dai's personality dramatically changed after encountering a peculiar mushroom. He seemed possessed, and his strength became terrifyingly immense. Ian employed every trick in his arsenal to escape from his grasp. And then Dai vanished without a trace. Despite the fear that his friend might be demonized and could strike again, Ian is resolute in not abandoning him. On edge and battling his own pains now, Ian vigilantly scoured the forest for days, yet discovered nothing. So something like this did happen, causing this nightmare. Obviously, the nightmare was a little more extreme than what actually happened, but we see now why he had that nightmare. Ian wonders if Dai has returned to the village, and with no other clues, he decides to head back to Lupa Village first. Unfortunately, there's no news of Dai there either. Ian trudges to the big tree at the village entrance, his usual sleeping spot where Dai would always come to wake him. Exhausted from several sleepless nights, Ian sits under the tree. Unable to fight off fatigue any longer, he falls into a deep sleep. I'm a little confused, like, why am I falling back to sleep? I just woke up. I just woke up from a nightmare and now I'm falling back asleep? Well, no, because I went and I traveled back to the village, and then I looked at a sleeping spot, and that's why I'm exhausted. Okay. So I did quite a bit between waking up from the nightmare and falling back asleep now. It happened really quick because it read really quick. Before falling asleep, he wondered if perhaps slumber would bring Dai back to awaken him once more. But Dai doesn't return, and this sleep presents a significant issue. Not only does he suffer a nightmare, but upon waking, his has completely vanished. His penis has vanished? So he wakes up from the nightmare after the bird in his dream flies out from between his legs at the very end of that dream. And now he wakes up, he's alone, Dai is gone, but the first thing after he does, after feeling this heat sensation between his legs and watching this bird fly off from between his legs, of course he's going to check his legs. Just like if you was to have a dream of your arm being cut off or something like that, when you wake up you might be like feeling your arm to make sure it's still there, right? I can see that. So he peers down inside of his trousers and sees that his penis, his pecker, is gone. And that might be more horrifying than having a bird fly out between your legs with a heat sensation, I'm just saying. I wonder if he actually felt that heat sensation that he was feeling in the dream. I wonder if he actually felt that in real life while he was sleeping. Crazy. Remembering the bird in his dream that flew away with no backward glance or second thought, Ian lets out a deep sigh. One bizarre event after another has now overwhelmed him, leaving him drained both physically and mentally. He feels clueless how to uncover the reasons behind it all, and just wishes for a swift resolution. While he's lost in thought, he thinks he hears someone calling his name. Ian glances up to see a middle-aged man approaching, leaning on a cane. The man is bald with a rounded head, slightly overweight, and sports a large beard tied with a thin string, reminiscent of an upside-down feather duster on his chest. Ian. Chief? Ian stands up. What are you doing here? Still haven't found Daya yet? No, not yet. The village chief lets out a grunt. He didn't escape with Lord Vito's money, did he? That's not possible. The village chief gives Ian a sideways look. So, did he swindle you and vanish with your money? Chief. Ian feels a bit helpless. It's true that Dai owes him money, but... Chief, your prejudice against him is just too strong. You've watched him grow up. Surely you know if he'd do something like that or not. That was ages ago. Since his parents passed. He's been nothing but trouble. Constantly fighting and causing issues. He's brought so much chaos to our village. Ian doesn't say anything. And you, instead of picking up a respectable trade, you're always tagging along with him. My father didn't bring you back here to turn into a layabout. Once you find him, get yourself a real job. The village is short on hands right now. Yes. The village chief caresses his beard and shakes his head. I've got it all mapped out. You two might not be the sharpest, but you've got strength on your side. You'll be our village patrolman. That little black from the neighboring Cucumber village is a menace, hoarding the church's talisman and refusing to share. Go teach him a lesson. Retrieve that talisman. Isn't that robbery? You're not the brightest, and you've got a sharp tongue. Who mentioned robbery? This is just borrowing. We'll give it back when, I retire. It says nothing. Suddenly, a faint shouting catches their attention. Their heads whip around towards the noise. A villager is racing towards them, arms flailing. His yells cutting through the air well before he gets close. Terrible news! Monsters! They're here! The expressions of Ian and the village chief immediately turn grim. Where are they? At the barrier on the south side of the village. The village chief gives Ian a firm slap on the shoulder. Go in. You've been eating our food for years. Now's your chance to pay us back. Go on, we'll never forget you. Almost like Ian's gonna go die to save the town. Almost like he's saying, you're gonna die, but go do it. Go pay your debt to us. Oh man. The music effects are so much louder, I feel like, than they've been before. So we got two hideous looking rats. As Ian arrives, the horde of monsters is already attacking the barrier. Cracks rapidly spread across its surface. Okay, real quick here, guys. Game settings. Let's turn this music down just a little bit because this is a little bit extreme. Alright, maybe you can hear me now. Once these monsters would have been nothing to him, but the festering wound on his side, only partially eased by the villager's sorcerer's chants screams with each move. The other guards, mere villagers who are just physically strong, have more courage than skill. Ian darts between breaches, slashing one monster and lunging at another, desperately trying to hold the line alone. Eventually, the barrier breaks. Ah! Damn. Another one gets in. A monster breaches the barrier, charging at an elderly villager struggling to move. As it seems the old person is doomed. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes, and energy-imbued stone hurtles in from nowhere, striking the monster. Ian is taken aback, unsure of where this unexpected reinforcement has appeared from. What? As the smoke from the fierce collision dissipates, a figure emerges beside a tree, casually juggling a stone. And it's a familiar, carefree smile that graces their face. See? You really can't manage without me, can you? Die? Wow. And that's that. So Dai has come back, so it seems, to help with this bizarre monster invasion of the town through the barriers. Guys, I gotta admit that I hope this game turns right back to where it was before today. Because I was pretty captivated and pretty interested and pretty intrigued with this whole story in the last part 2 that I did. Up through story 3 of Ian. Today has just been weird. This whole dream thing, and then waking up, and then finding that Dae's gone, his friend is gone, and now all of a sudden, these monsters are trying to break in through the town barrier and attack the town, evidently. This guy we've never seen before, who's the town whatever, comes in and tells us to go save the town because we've eaten food for all these years, and telling us what garbage me and Dae are, and blah blah blah. And now Dae just comes back to our surprise to help us kill one of the monsters. It's just bizarre, and I gotta say that if my interest level in this story was at an 8 before today, right now I think it's lowered to about a 5. So hopefully it gets better and doesn't keep having these really odd, awkward dreams and changes in its path. Yeah, I thought the writing was really well done and everything was going well until today. And now I'm just wondering what's going to happen with the story. Is it just going to be a bunch of... I feel like right now it's kind of taken a conjolted turn into oddity, and almost as if the writer who wrote this story didn't know where to go with the story, so he just came up with random bullshit to count as fillers for where the story's going. Like, he doesn't even know what to write. Like, it almost feels like he didn't do a rough draft of a good story and make it a good story. Like I said, he's just randomly creating a bunch of nonsense. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully today was just an odd part of the visual novel here. But I'm still interested to see what happens, so we'll continue with Forsaker in the next video here soon, guys. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure and comment down below, guys. Let me know if you guys thought today was an unsatisfying turn for the worst, it feels like, in this visual novel. Maybe I'm just having a bad morning or something, I don't know. But I am drinking coffee for what it's worth, so I've had my coffee. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening and watching. And have a good day out there, guys. We'll see you soon. Peace, everybody.